Okay, here in our first exercise, we're going to be looking at the web console, and we want to become familiar with the UI of DXP Cloud, and we're going to go through each aspect of what the web console does. So, our walkthrough is going to be pretty easy. It's just a little tour of what we have going on. We're going to sign in to your DXP Cloud account, open the dev project, and then we're going to explore the web console. All right, let's begin. So we're going to get you signed in to your DXP Cloud account. And then as soon as we sign in, we're taken to our projects page, and we'll have our development environment ready to go. So we'll go ahead and click on that. Okay, excellent. So as you can see, it's brought us to this overview page. We can take a glance at our environment as a whole. So our services, we can see that they're healthy. We don't have any alerts down here. We can check on our latest deployment, as well as an activities log. Let's take a better look at some of the services. We just come over here to the left. And then we can see all of our services a little bit more in depth. So let's go ahead and choose the Liferay one. And here we have access to the logs. We can see the build logs as well. And we can also download them if need be. Moving on, we have our activities. And we have our two separate sections, one for the build and deployment, so you can get a better idea of your development. And then we have a more general one, so it's going to be the actions that your team members are performing. Come on over here to logs. And again, we can see we have access to all logs, or we can check on the build specifically. And again, we can download as well. In our monitoring section, we can check on our different services. And we'll always be tracking these four things: the CPU, memory, the transfer, as well as the status. And we can also change the scope at which we'd like to view. Next up is the team. And then this is where we can see what team members are involved in this environment here. So we have 4 of the Liferay University team members. There's me. And if I want to add other people, I can as well. Let's say I'll add the test backup at liferay.com. And I can choose their role. So admin, being able to manage other users, contributor, just being able to work within the environment, and then the guest, who's really just able to view. Then I can send an invite. Next up, the last on the left, we have our settings. And the most important part is going to be this VPN option right here. So if you need to access something outside of the network, maybe say another service, you can get that all set up to make sure that everything stays secure for your site. All right, we'll be moving up here to the top right now. So we have our builds tab. So after you've made changes or gotten something running for the first time, we can check on the status of our builds. We can also see how it responded to each service. So looks like everything checks out. We have our GitHub information, a message to make sure that other team members can know what was changed or what was added. And then we have the member responsible for the build. Over here to the right, we have our deployments. So after we've deployed our builds, we can check out which environment they've been sent to. And again, we can also check on status, as well as the different services. And we have some more GitHub information here. If you'd like to get a better sense of when things have been changing, we have a chronological history down below as well. All right, moving more to the right. So we have our alerts page. This is going to be particularly helpful in knowing how much usage each environment has for its different services. So for instance, here in the production environment, the search service has exceeded 90% of its allocated memory. We can check on the status and we see that it's still ongoing, something that we're going to want to fix. Moving more right, we have our help section. This is where you can get help, contact support, you can read up on some issues, and my favorite, you can also check on the uptime status as well. And finally, in the upper right, we have our initial. We can go ahead and click on our profile, and we can check on our information. I like this, so I'm not going to touch it, but we can head to our alerts preferences, and we can decide whether or not we'd like to receive an email whenever an alert is appearing. So I would like to stay up to date. I would like to know what's going on within the project. So I'm going to go ahead and select yes, save my alert preferences. Awesome. And then when I go to the profile, this email is going to be the email that receives that alert. Excellent. Let's go ahead and take a look at our CI service. So go up here and click on the DXP Cloud Text. It takes us back to our project page like we arrived at the beginning. And we're going to go ahead and click on the infrastructure environment. And you'll notice here that for services, we have our CI service. We'll go here. Similar to our other service monitoring, we have our logs that we can also download. And we're going to actually want to go and get to this service. So there's a couple ways to do that. One, we can copy the service URL, open a new tab, and paste. That'll take us to a login page. Now, if you don't have your login on hand, come back, go to your environment variables, and we're going to be looking for, we would like the customer. It's just customer. And then we're also going to need that customer password. It's right here, so I'll just copy this. Come back to our sign-in. And we'll sign in. And then we've arrived within our Jenkins service. If you don't want to copy the URL, you can also just click up here. Some bonus exercises. Change our alert notification preferences. Take a look at the services in depth. Open the infrastructure environment to take a look at the CI service. So that wraps up this exercise. Next, we're going to be taking a look at how we can customize more of the services through GitHub.